Lord, by the strength of thy Holy Spirit, grant us the willingness to place service above personal gain and to respect our obligations of justice in our positions as members of the Council of the Town of Essex.
Amen. Welcome, everyone. I'll declare the meeting open. And any conflicts of interest amongst the council members this evening? No? Thank you very much. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda, Monday, April the 7th, regular council meeting. Deputy Mayor Melange, Councillor Bowman, any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a new business item and also a notice of motion that I would like to include tonight, please.
Okay. How's the time? Go ahead, Chair.
Would you like me to say what they are?
Sure.
The new business.
New business.
Okay. The new business is I would like to ask Council for support to have administration look at the Fair Elections Act and to come back with a report for the next council meeting to have some comments on how the Fair Elections Act affects us, and then maybe possibly from that report we could write a letter to our MP. There's been a lot of media attention lately around the Fair Elections Act. Okay. That's all.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Adoption of minutes for Monday, March 17th, regular council meeting. Councillor Vokes, Councillor Bondi, with the question.
Thank you. I would like to ask Council support to send report 2014-2005 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses for 2015 to both the Harrow News and the Essex Free Press. I believe that the Council's made a commitment to be accountable and transparent, and I think that not everybody in our municipality has access to the internet, to our website, to pull up these reports, and I think this report has a lot of public information that needs to go out in our newspapers as well.
Councillor Vokes.
I'll definitely support that. We as a council, since this council formed in the last election, worked on the foundation of being transparent and open. So I will definitely support that goes into print in the local papers.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Choose that motion for. B, Monday, March 6, 2014 minutes. Council. Deputy Mayor Melange moves, supported by Councillor Vokes. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. C, March 24th minutes. Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Vokes. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Oh, I know I can hear the people talking. Yeah. Public presentations. First one, Caden's Dream. Caden Blair is the founder, sharing his story of organ transplants. There he is. Get the green shirt on.
Your Worship, if I could we maybe just have somebody from administration to ask those people so we can clearly hear?
To get out of the doorway. Yes, I agree. You want a morning? I can. Either come in or go around the corner.
Yeah, just because I want to be able to.
I have a dream that no child, mother, father, or loved one will ever have to die waiting for a life-saving transplant. Right now, every 3 days, someone dies waiting to live. Good evening, Council and members of Essex. My name is Caden Blair, and I'm an 11-year-old transplant survivor. I received my gift of life shortly after my first birthday. Organ donation has given me a chance to live. It has allowed me to excel at sports, to be a big brother, and make new friends, to dream, to hope, to believe, and to achieve. I'm asking for your support by placing a green ribbon to honor our donors everywhere and also to give hope to those currently waiting. This coming Saturday, April 12th, at 9 a.m., I am hosting a walk called Caden's Dream, A Walk for Life. This walk is to honor my donor family and to raise organ and tissue donation awareness and hope that Emily along will everyone waiting will someday have their own hero and will receive their gift of life. Myself with 300 plus supporters will walk the Green Mile in Essex from Holy Name Church to Essex High. Myself with 50 brave supporters will continue on to the Windsor Regional Hospital Met Campus. Currently, Essex is only 28% registered. This is not good enough. My goal is to make Essex a majority. I'm encouraging everyone 16 years or older to please visit my website at www.beadonor.ca/Caden'sDream and register so someday you can help save a life like mine, so you could be a hero, someone's hero. Thank you.
Thanks, Caden. Any questions from the council members? Don't run away, Caden. We're not finished with you. You might be done with us. We're not finished with you. Any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, Caden, for coming to council and sharing your story and really showing leadership. I think that's awesome. I want to help you on your mission, and I'm planning on attending Saturday. Now, your sign-up sheet says the deadline is March 31st, but can people still register? All right, awesome. So I'd like to encourage everybody to head out there and walk with us. Thank you.
Councillor Bowman.
Yes, again, thanks for coming out and making it a point that we should be involved. I've been registered for many years now, and I think every family has been touched one way or another with this, and I know from a family that is the donor family, that's a very tough decision. But when you see somebody like yourself walking around to say, look what what could happen, I think that's a real positive thing that can be a real blessing to anybody that's in those positions. So thanks for coming out, and hopefully you can get up to 50% signed up for it. Thank you.
Councillor Vokes.
Don't go away, Caden. Look at, unfortunately, due to work, I can't make it Saturday, but I do have $25 for you before you leave, so don't go without getting that money. And with that being said, I'm just trying to figure out how we can, as a town of Essex, proclaim April 7th of every given year as Caden's Day in Essex. Recognize and walk a life in organ transplant. It will be a statutory day in Essex every year thereafter.
Randy, sorry to interrupt you. His actual transplant date is April 27th.
Is April 20? Okay,
that's
then
the actual transplant date.
Can we make it that day? Would the preference be to be that day? And we'll proclaim it if we can somehow through a motion. Can we do that to administration? So I'll make an motion that we proclaim April 27th, starting with this year and every year after, for eternity, that April 27th will be Caden Organ Donor Day in Essex, and we'll recognize it somehow.
Supported by Councillor Scott. Any questions? All in favor of that motion? Motion carries. Caden, I just want to let you know that on Saturday, any of us who are going the long mile with you, don't go too fast, okay?
Caden, come on up here, buddy. I got some money for you. Here you go. Thank you. Don't spend it all one time.
Our second delegation is the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit, Krista Rempel and Christy Macbeth. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. It's just me tonight. Krista's unfortunately not feeling well. Thank you for having us back. We have been working closely with your administration since November of last year was the last time we were here. And at that time, Council had put forward the motion to hold a survey, which you have the results in front of you. So I'm just here to kind of give you an update as to where we are as a province, because that was another piece that kind of has come into the mix since we last spoke. So I'll give you a little update there, and then we can kind of look at the results if anybody has any questions, and we'll see where we go from here. Is there a...
The PowerPoint presentation is loaded on the computer in front of you.
Okay, so we'll just start off, just as a quick reminder, I know you've probably all heard this a lot, but why smoke-free outdoor spaces are important? Well, there's three key things that we always talk about when we talk about smoke-free outdoor spaces. The first is it reduces the health risks of secondhand smoke. We know that there is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke, indoors or outdoors. The second is that it denormalizes tobacco use. One of the main goals here as well is to eliminate the number of places where our children and youth see smoking so that it denormalizes the behavior. We don't want smoking to continue to be a part of what children and youth expect. And then the last one, of course, it creates healthier environments. One of the big ones around that is it reduces cigarette litter, and it just creates overall less waste. So just as a little background, this is sort of where we have come from as it relates to the smoke-free outdoor spaces in the town of Essex. All the way back in June of last year is when we first came forward and had a discussion about smoke-free outdoor spaces. On the 17th, you saw a number of delegations come out and speak in favor of smoke-free outdoor space bylaw in the town of Essex. And on the 8th of July, a bylaw was brought forward, and administration was asked to prepare a report to discuss designated smoking areas. In September is when the request for a public open house was brought forward, and in November is when Essex administration actually launched a survey for Essex residents about their feelings towards a smoke-free outdoor space bylaw, which is the report that you do have in front of you with all those results, which I think you'll be able to see is quite favorable and positive towards creating some sort of a bylaw in the town of Essex. And then on November 18th, unexpectedly, Minister Deb Matthews introduced Bill 131 called the Youth Prevention and Smoking Act. Basically, as a part of that act, there was a provision around smoke-free outdoor spaces that would affect the entire province. So just for the sake of information, here's some of the highlights of what the proposed Bill 131 includes. It would basically increase fines for those who sell tobacco to minors. It would actually make us the highest fine level in Canada if it is approved. It clarifies that it is prohibited to offer promotional items with the sale of tobacco. And an example of that would be someone coming in to purchase cigarettes and then also receiving like a promotional item like a lighter or matches. It would also prohibit the sale of tobacco with flavors in them, with the exception of things like menthol. But we have a lot of flavored cigarettes now that we know are targeted towards youth. There's strawberry, bubblegum, all of those flavors. And so that would put a ban on that, and that would no longer occur. It would also strengthen our enforcement tools around taking samples of water pipe tobacco. Basically, there's two different types of that. There's herbal and non-herbal. Non-herbal tobacco, non-herbal water pipe and hookah it actually contains tobacco in it, and that is prohibited under the Smoke Free Ontario Act, but currently it's very difficult to determine if there is tobacco in the product. And so this would look at strengthening some of the enforcement tools around being able to determine if there was tobacco in it. It would also prohibit the sale of tobacco on post-secondary education campuses or specific Government of Ontario properties. It would also prohibit smoking on the outdoor grounds of hospitals in our province. Locally, one of our hospitals is already completely smoke-free grounds, and the others are already moving towards this, but this would mandate this provincially as well. And then the the most important piece that relates to what we've been talking about here in Essex is it would prohibit smoking on outdoor grounds. That would also include parks, playgrounds, sports fields, and as well as restaurant and bar patios. So essentially, we do have some bar and restaurant patios that currently allow for smoking based on their structure, whether they have, if they do not currently have a roof, but if Bill 131 passes, that would no longer be allowed. So just as an update on the status, at our last, when we last spoke, there currently are 132 municipal outdoor space bylaws in Ontario, so this is separate from the Provincial Act, and that's actually 14 more than when we originally spoke about this back in June. So that just goes to show that, despite the fact that there is this provincial bill on the table, that there is still movement towards that. And I think that the survey results from the town of Essex show, that there is a desire for this type of bylaw, whether it comes from the town of Essex or it comes through the form of a provincial regulation. But the desire is there. And just as an update for Windsor-Essex, the town of Lakeshore is in their second phase of their bylaw implementation. So they've sort of gone through their education phase and they're moving into implementation, which will also include enforcement, and that'll be coming up in May and June of this year. Leamington has also passed a bylaw, and they're going to begin their implementation phase with education starting on May 31st of this year. And as well, IRCA has endorsed a smoke-free outdoor space policy, which is actually currently in effect as of March. So taking into consideration the report and the survey results, there's a couple things here. The town of Essex is absolutely, move forward with a bylaw, which of course we would 100% support and would encourage you to do so and continue to be leaders when it comes to health policy. There's also, waiting for the outcome of Bill 131 to inform further discussion. As it stands right now, the outdoor space provision of Bill 131 would include only a 20-meter setback at different areas. So there would definitely be room for other bylaw intervention if desired. As an example, the town of Lakeshore bylaw would actually surpass what is covered in Bill 131. So it would stand that they would still be completely smoke-free in all those spaces because it would go further than what the province has set out. So of course, we would encourage our municipalities to do the same and potentially look at going further than what's coming up in the province because we do think that's important. So, and then again, if Bill 131 does pass, there will be obviously some plans around implementation from the province that, of course, we would need to talk about and move forward. And I guess from an update standpoint, Bill 131 went for second reading on March 31st. It did not pass that phase yet. There was lots of discussion. They didn't actually move to the point where it was, okay, second reading is done, we're moving to third. There was a delay. There was a speaker that was missing. So it's still in a little bit of a holding pattern, but it is still moving. So we're still very hopeful for that. But again, we talked about this back in June, July, September, and November of last year. We see the municipalities around Windsor-Essex have always been pro-health, and of course we would absolutely love to see the town of Essex move forward on a bylaw.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? I have Councillor Vokes, Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Your Worship. Do we know how far away Bill 131 is at this point?
It's really hard to say. It's gone through second reading, but it hasn't actually officially been passed to third reading. That not means that it's not going to, right. But of course we all know that timing is right. Everything in provincial government. So to be honest, it's really hard to tell. We're still very hopeful, but to be honest, I'm not sure. So
with bills, knowing the speed they pass, it could be weeks, months, even years. So I want to have some discussions with council about when we look at our sports and recreational facilities and certainly our parks, putting designating smoking areas on a temporary basis until the bill's passed. And then the bill will guide us, and they're only temporary, right? Because if the parameters of the bill change or don't allow us, or not so much don't allow us, if it's created in a sense that it allows us other opportunities than that, then we can exercise that at that time. But in the short term, it does two things. It respects the fact that people in 2014 still enjoyed out their cigarettes for their own personal reasons, but it shows us being proactive in those particular fields, no pun intended. So I would encourage council to look at doing something like that. I don't know if we need a bylaw written to do that, or if it can be done through a motion or a direction, but obviously it would start with council support.
Thank you, Councillor Vokes. Councillor Scott.
Thank you, through your worship. In the timeline there, we talked about having a public open house. Did we have the survey instead of having a public open house? Was that the forum that we used? Maybe Donna can answer that.
Through you, your worship, it wasn't in place of, it was expected that the survey results would be presented in a public open house at a...
Okay, so the plan is to still have one. Okay. And maybe through you, your worship, to Donna, maybe you can update us what we're proposing for our bylaw, some of the things, and touch on what Randy had mentioned.
In terms of proposing in our bylaw?
Yeah, what we're looking at doing.
Well, when the original bylaw came down, it prohibited smoking in parks, on trails, in playgrounds, sports fields. It prohibited. There was no designated areas. It was council that came back and wanted us to come back with some designated areas, which is, just to answer to Councillor Vokes, that's an expensive interim measure, because not only do you have to prepare that bylaw, but you also have to do all the signage and everything that goes with that. For something that is just going to be interim, it would be better to wait and go wherever you want to go with the final bylaw.
Councillor Bowman.
Yes, with Bill 131 coming along, I would rather wait till that is in place. But at the same token, I think we should pressure our various political leaders to move this forward, and because that's where it should be coming from in the first place, is the province. So it's uniform across the area. If we want to modify hours later on to increase areas or be specific in certain areas, then so be it. But I think at this time, it makes far more sense to put our pressure on the political, provincial political people to move forward with this quicker rather than later, because it's to the betterment of it all, the province. So. And that's where it should have come in the first place. It's a little slow, but it's coming. And my opinion would be to let's try to speed it up.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through you, your worship. I agree with what Councillor Bowman is saying here. I think we should try and put pressure on some of our provincial leaders here. Maybe even have the town of Essex strike a letter that we could send on to Deb Matthews, Minister of Health, and perhaps the party leaders as well. But one of the things that I think we should be doing, regardless of whether we pass a bylaw in the near term before the province passes their bylaw, is that we should be exploring through our open houses and continue on that path, so that we have a very good idea of what we want to see, or what our residents want to see in a no smoking bylaw, so that once the province passes their bylaw, that we have the ability to have knowledge from our residents to say, this is what we want to do. Regardless of what the province is saying, maybe we do want to make ours a little bit more stringent than what the province is speaking of, or what they've passed. So to pursue the path that we're going right now, to find out exactly what it is that our residents want to see in a no smoking bylaw. It may not match what the province's bylaw will be. So we'll have those tools at our hands when we go to pass our own bylaw. I've got a feeling at this point in time that I'd like to see us wait until the province passes their bylaw, and then put our own in place at that point in time. I'd also like to revisit it in maybe 6 months, well, right around election time, I don't know, but in the not too distant future, because of the fact that it does sometimes take very long time to get through provincial legislature. So if it's going to go another year or 2 years, I don't really want to see us waiting that long. So, thank you.
Could we get the biggest guy in here to go out and ask them people if they could keep it down?
They're too noisy. It's disruptive.
We've already had administration go out and it didn't do any good.
Disruptive.
You probably would, sir. Councillor Bondi. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Some great comments so far. I would like to see, I'm glad this is resurfaced, and I've been waiting patiently for it to resurface, but I know we've been busy with budget. But I would love to see an open house. It's clear that the survey results show some desire in Essex for limitations on smoking, and especially around areas where there's children. I guess I'm more of an extremist because I would be full support in banning smoking around children in any capacity. I'd like to make it less socially acceptable, and you can all stone me after I leave this meeting if you like, but we all pay for the cost of smoking, and this town spends lots and lots and lots and lots of money to keep us all healthy and active. So I believe we could spend a little bit of money to come around and do a little bit of prevention. And that's just my thoughts. I'm totally in support of writing a letter. I think we need to get that letter on their desk right away. I'd also like to see a report come back from administration on the cost of doing, like Councillor Vokes said, on the cost of doing some temporary smoking areas, and I'd like to see if we can schedule an open house in the next couple months to see what our residents say and to have some information there and to take it from there. But I'm glad it's resurfaced, and I promise you that I won't let it go away.
We've all spoke to the issue. Unless you have a recommendation to make or a motion, the discussion period's over. Okay, Councillor Vokes, you like a motion?
If we could just adopt Sherry's request as a motion, we can move forward with it.
Letter open house report.
Yes, letter open house report.
Nice and loud into the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, we must receive Donna's report first, and also this report here, and then you... Okay. Yep. Supported by Councillor Scott. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Now, yep, Councillor Bondi.
I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter to the minister, that we also get a report from administration just looking at the temporary costs of smoking areas, and that we look to have a public open house in a couple of months. Not urgent, but I don't know.
Mr. Vokes?
Thank you, Worship. I'll support that.
Okay.
Can we have that copy to our local MPP, Taraz Nadashak, also to all three party leaders? Thank you.
Amendment? Good. Anything further? Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Worship. When we originally got into the smoking concerns, I had asked council to send a letter to Deb Matthews asking her to attend one of our council meetings and have the discussions with us of her intent, because at that time it was something that was being dumped on the municipality. So once again, we're going to request that letter get to her. I certainly would have liked to see her show up in person, and I don't know if that was ever sent to her. We may want to check the records, and I would like to believe something was sent to her. And with that being said, being a health and safety rep at Chrysler's, when it comes to designated smoking areas, sometimes it's not complicated, and I can only speak to the transportation division. We got a simple line on the ground that says in a highlighted color, no smoking beyond this point. That's all it says. It's cost efficient and it's effective. So
I will tell Councillor Vokes and everyone that the letter did go. Guaranteed.
Did she respond to it? She didn't respond. Thank you, Deb. We really appreciate that.
We won't go any further. We could.
Yeah, I know we could.
The motion. Motion carries. Thank you. Don't you get sick. Help. C, we have the Southern Ontario Military Muster Group, Vice President Jason Henry and Linda Eiler.
Your Worship, councillors, administrative staff, media, and members of the audience. Thank you for the opportunity that you have given Southern Ontario Military Muster Organization to speak to you about our group's interest in the Memorial Arena. My name is Linda Eiler. I am the Secretary of the Southern Ontario Military Muster, and unfortunately Jason Henry could not get away from work, so beside me is President and Founder Jeff Bottoms. First, I'd like to give you a brief background on the Southern Ontario Military Muster for those who have never heard of us or been to one of our events. The Southern Ontario Military Muster was founded in 2010 and was held at the Canadian Transportation Museum and Heritage Village. After 3 years as a committee, we decided it was time to make a change. The views of the core SOM group was to grow on the many different levels, and to do that we had to move on. Within 6 months of our move, we became a not-for-profit organization under the affiliation of the Ontario Historical Society. Constantly, more hard work and knowledge was obtained and put to good use. With detailed assistance from our treasurer, in the fall of 2013, we obtained our charitable status, all which was achieved in a short period of time. The core SOM group has had the same goals and the same views and the same enthusiasm towards our veterans throughout the years, and this is to support them and their families in any way possible and to educate the public about the veterans and the sacrifices they have made for us from the early years and to the present. Over the years, we have demonstrated this through our shows and the many parades, events, and ceremonies that we have attended. The SOM has been growing every year, and we now have a couple of subcommittees under us, having the same goals in mind, and that is to support our veterans and our communities. Our motto is to preserve, honor, perpetuate, and educate in the memory of those who served. We brought this idea of Essex becoming the home of SOM for a while ago to our administrative people, our mayor, our deputy mayor, our CAO, John Olson, and now since his arrival with Doug Sweet. Also mentioning that it was to a couple of our councillors, which was Morley Bowman and Sherry Bondi. And this would be a welcome new addition to Essex Centre and Essex as a town, but also wanted the town to experience this by having the military muster in Essex Centre in August of 2013. To keep with our future goals, we needed to establish a place of our own. Previous years, we have been having our shows at the Canadian Transportation Museum and Heritage Village, and in 2013, in the town of Essex at the arena and the parks grounds. It has been great holding our shows at these places, but we are also looking to fill a void. In 2014, we will once again be in the town of Essex at the fairgrounds, and we are just missing that sense of home. We have been talking about a permanent home for the Southern Ontario Military Muster since the beginning, and I believe 2014 may be the year we can capitalize on this with the present situation of the Essex Memorial Arena. Let me say that the arena was a very big addition and a plus for 2013 SOM, as we never had a large indoor floor area for the vendors and the displayers. It was a very huge hit among the attendees. The arena not only is a great fit for a major part of our show, but would be a huge step forward and accomplishment to be able to call the Memorial Arena our home. Let me explain why the Essex Memorial Arena would be a great permanent home for the Southern Ontario Military Muster. One of the top priorities of the SOM is to bring a large museum to our area to display the many military vehicles, and I emphasize vehicles, that we have among ourselves, as well as the many vehicles from members and other owners that support our show. We have to have a large museum in our area, which most of us know has a very deep military history would be a huge plus for tourism, education, and veterans support through many avenues. One of the avenues to support our veterans by providing a place for them to come and spend the time with our veterans. With the assistance of the town and its community, we could add another reason for Essex being a place to be. There has been so many people in the past in Essex that have made things happen in this community. And one particular member in the community in Essex was Mr. Pinkerton.
Linda, your 5 minutes is up, so if you can come to a conclusion very shortly, please.
Okay, the big thing I'd like to mention that inside the Memorial Arena was when it was originally decorated with plaques for the honor rolls of World War I and World War II veterans, and in memory of Mr. Pinkerton. So the Southern Ontario Military Muster understands that there are structural studies and or reports in the process regarding the arena changeover from a wet to a dry facility. We have been looking into an architect to draw some sketches and to let you better understand our ideas, which can be brought back to the table once a decision is made on the outcome of the Memorial Arena. And thank you very much for your time. We are open to any questions.
Thank you very much. Council members, any questions? Council votes?
Linda, when did you meet with administration and council members?
Administration was done before we had the very first military muster here with the mayor and Richard and CIO Russ Phillips.
So that would have been when, if I could?
June of last year.
June of last year. So we got councilors and administration meeting June of last year. And myself and John and Councillor Baker are finding out tonight. No memos, no forwards, no dialogue, no emails of the discussions that took place. We're finding out tonight. That's what we're doing. Just a point of interest.
Okay, Linda, go ahead. Try to. Well, she's going to try to answer it. I think she's going to try to answer it. Well, there is.
There is.
But there is. You asked a question.
No, there isn't, because I didn't receive nothing.
Okay, Councilor votes.
As a councillor, okay. I didn't receive nothing. I'm not being argumentative. I'm just making.
Nor am I.
I'm making a point of interest. I didn't know nothing of these discussions with the military muster taking place. Nothing. Nor did John. Nor did Bill. So that question, that point of interest is to administration and to council and not to the delegates here tonight. But my question to you, Linda, is what is the intent of financially supporting it? Can you share that with us, please?
At this time, we haven't really put a proposal of that together yet, for the simple reason that we've, right now this is just a proposal of interest to you, so that you understand that there is more than one group out there that is interested in the arena. But we can come back with something. We are thinking of putting the design together for what we want to do inside, if, depending on who gets the arena, what council decides. But, to get back to your comment, last year when we did meet with Deputy Mayor Meloche and the mayor and CAO, we were going to see how the event went in August, and then we were going to discuss something for after your tax deliberations. We weren't going to be bringing anything to the table prior to that. So it was mentioned that we should probably do it since, not as to a whole lot of competition, but since the Ravens brought it up before all the tax deliberations were over, then we decided we better put our best foot forward.
I appreciate your view, Linda, but once again, my concerns are between our council members that I suggested in administration. Thank you.
Okay.
I have Deputy Mayor Meloche and then Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just so Councillor Vokes realizes, the meeting request what came from the Southern Ontario Military Muster personnel. They asked to meet with the mayor and the deputy mayor. What happened was we had no idea what they wanted to discuss. We thought it was the event at that point in time. It came up as a secondary thought at that point in time that they may want to venture using the arena. And all that the mayor and the deputy mayor suggested to them was that when the appropriate time, bring up your plan. There was no discussion of, yes, that's a great idea or not a great idea. It was just, we're glad that somebody's interested. We have other groups that are interested as well. Please bring your plan forward with appropriate time when the plans come forward. Now I'm going to direct the question to Linda and Jeff. So probably in the very near future, if you're showing interest, you can see a large contingency here that's here probably in favor of the sports complex going forward, and there's a kind of a plan there to try and make it viable. So if it's something that you're seriously pursuing, we're going to probably need something sooner rather than later. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Councillor Bondi?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Linda and Jeff for coming out. And you know, it's okay to have a dream. And it's great that everybody is here and everybody in this room has a dream. And being in this seat sometimes is not all that easy. I want to hear from everybody that has a dream for Memorial Arena. I was called on the weekend from a group in Kingsville. They're looking to expand their curling club. They're like, we want in on this bandwagon. We want a dream too. Sitting in this seat, the only commitment I'm willing to make tonight is to go forward with the support of a structural analysis on the building. After we get that report, I would like to see how keeping Memorial Arena open fits into our master plan. And then I would like to do a request for proposals. And once we see those proposals, council can then decide on what to do. And you know, and I'm not even convinced that it should happen in this term of council, because you know, we're heading into an election year and everybody's got favorites. And you know what? I have favorites too. I love sports. I love vets. We're all in this room in a free country because of the vets. You know, I don't know which way I would go right now. I'm not prepared. But the first step is, like, you know, and Councillor Vokes, you were right. 2 weeks ago, we should have done a report on the structural analysis. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and when he's right, I'll let him know he's right, and I think he's right. You know what's unfortunate right now about tonight is I'm getting a little emotional. I'm a little upset because I really wish everybody that was talking outside a half an hour ago was in this council chambers when we had a little boy who was alive today because of an organ donation. And everybody's passionate about sports and vets, but organ donation is huge. And there was a little boy sitting in here telling his story, telling his dream. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people were out in the hall, and I wish you would have heard that, because that's the real story today. I still have registration forms for Caden's walk that is happening this Saturday. So anyways, when the time comes, I'd like to see a report on the structural analysis, and I'd also like to see, you know, how it fits into our master plan, and then I would like to see a request for proposals. And that's my position tonight.
Thanks, Sherry. Anything further from Jeff or Linda? Councillor Scott.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Linda and Jeff. Have you guys had any discussions with the Kingsville Historical Park about partnering with anything? Because I know they've come to us and they are looking to do something different. I just wondered if there's been any discussion there.
After we were involved with them through the Korean veterans passing the torch, we did get together with them, and they did come to our event last year, and we participated with them this year, and it is getting to the point where, you know, a lot of the different groups are trying to work together instead of pulling themselves apart.
Thank you, sir. Anything further? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to receive the report. Presentation, Councillor Bondi.
Thank you.
Deputy or Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Now, I guess you're not going to leave, are you? Next, we have Southern Ontario Military Muster Standing Committee, Jeff Bottoms and Robert Swadling and Susan Allison. With regards to the Essex Memorial Spitfire, and I would like to say that Mrs. Jerry Billings is sitting right straight in front of me here. She's got the nice silver hair there, and on behalf of all of us, Mrs. Billings, when you get home, you can thank Jerry, who doesn't get out anymore, for everything he's done for us in the past. Thank you. Welcome.
Does that work? There we go. I'm going to say, and this project came about before the arena project. It was a different group that came to us about the trying to make a memorial of a Spitfire in the town of Essex. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob, and he'll talk about it.
Good evening, Worshipful Mayor and councillors and staff. I am Bob Swadling, and I am a Spitfire historian. And we are here to represent the Essex Memorial Spitfire Committee, which is part of the Southern Ontario Military Muster. To my right is Suzanne Allison, and to my further right is Jeff Bottoms, who you probably know. Okay. Our mission is to erect a replica Spitfire similar to the one in Jackson Park, to honor our Essex County Airmen. A plaque listing their names will also be placed at the base of the monument. Our committee is governed under the Southern Ontario Military Muster, which is a not-for-profit charitable organization affiliated with the Ontario Historical Society. As far as fundraising goes, we have already acquired a major financial sponsor, and we have others standing in the wings, pun intended, awaiting the town's approval. The Spitfire, once it's up on the plinth, will be painted as it appeared on D-Day, June 6, 1944, as it was flown by Essex's own Spitfire ace, Jerry Billing, in 401 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force. We believe the Spitfire will attract people of all ages. It will serve as a means to teach children about our military history and be a constant reminder to all residents and visitors in the future and beyond. We also believe it will complement the Essex Silo District Plan project area. And that's a mouthful. We would prefer the Spitfire to be located in the open area between the Royal Canadian Legion and the Super Quality Cleaners, but close to Talbot Trail, with the train station and the silos in the background. Now, we used to have a Spitfire in town, but it was back in April 2005 that our historical mural depicting the Spitfire was demolished. And this is a picture of the mural when it was on the south side of the old Canadian Tire building in Southland Plaza. And that's Gary's son Eric and his wife Karen are standing out front, and they are both here tonight, and they are on our committee. Now, who is Jerry Billing? Well, Jerry has been my personal friend for over 40 years. He was a Spitfire pilot in World War II, and he flew in England, and then Malta. Then he came back home to Essex, and then again went overseas and flew with 401 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force, until he was shot down over France on July 1st, 1944. Then he evaded capture. He then came home to continue flying Spitfires for a record-breaking 56 years, and I'm sure that some of you have experienced that Spitfire zipping up and down the sky, and Jerry doing a ballet in the air, so to speak. We hope each member of council will please accept on behalf of the Billing family the book of Jerry's memoirs. Jerry has been recognized in France and knighted with the name Chevalier, which is knighthood, certainly one of their country's most highest honors. The cover of the book shows Jerry in Malta in 1942. And this is a picture of myself visiting Jerry. He currently resides in Malden Park. He's pretty well bedridden, and he knows about this going on, and he's quite enthused about it. He'll be 93 on April the 20th. The reason we are here tonight is to respectfully ask permission for the town to donate a parcel of land to erect the High Memorial and to maintain the grounds once completed. Worshipful Mayor, Council and staff, on behalf of the Essex Memorial Spitfire Committee and the Southern Ontario Military Muster, we thank you very much for your attention tonight. And do you have any questions? Which I'm sure you will.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions from the council members or comments? Council votes?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to. There's got to be some way we can discover a chance to have that erected in town. I certainly wouldn't want to discard that idea. If I remember right, I remember Mr. Billings used to fly his Spitfire over Essex. I specifically remember the windows rattling when he would go over. The plane is not huge in nature, though, is it? Like it's probably 25 feet, 20 feet.
The wingspan is 36 feet 10 inches. It's a full-size replica. It's not a real Spitfire, although you'd swear it is. It's made out of fiberglass. They have one in Jackson Park, if you'd like to see one up on the plinth.
Yeah, I remember it. What I would really like is if we can afford an opportunity that you get the chance to speak with yourself and whoever would also like to be there. Maybe talk to Jeff Watson and Heather about our streetscape and our silo project and figure out some way to incorporate it in where a recommendation would be to put it, and then have council concur, hopefully, with that recommendation. But it's my position, somehow that's going to get erected in the town of Essex. That's only my position. I'm not speaking for everybody else here, so you certainly got one, I guarantee you that.
Thank you. It's certainly my position too, and a lot of us, but the first thing to do is to find out, does the town accept it, and is there a place going to be for it? Once that's done, then we can go ahead and fundraise, and we've got friends of Jerry that in very high places that we should have no trouble raising the funds.
If I could on that, and again, that's why I'm strongly suggesting that you talk to our administration through Jeff Watson and through Heather to meet with them after this, and then they can work with council on the initiating that and getting that done.
Thank you. I have the Deputy Mayor Malash and Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Basically the same thing. Randy said everything pretty well that I wanted to say. I didn't know what he was going to say, but it's absolutely something that I could see the town of Essex wanting. It's not something that we're going to say, no, we don't want that. I mean, that's awesome that you would step forward and bring that forward to the town of Essex. What an honor to Jerry Billing and his family. Yes, and reiterate what Randy said. Please do work with Jeff Watson and Heather Jablonski. Doug Sweet may get involved in it as well, because it somehow would have to be tied into our parks landscape. So thank you. Thank you for coming forward with that tonight.
Mr. Bowman?
Thank you, Your Worship. I too would support the proposal. I think all of us in Essex have seen Jerry over the years. He's appeared before council many times for various reasons, and I think it's a fitting tribute to the man who has represented us well over the years. I think, as you mentioned, since the demise of the mural, it's been missed, and I think this. I've heard rumors of the Spitfire replica being up and coming to the area. So glad it's coming, and hopefully that it comes quicker rather than later. So I think probably appropriate at this time that council accepts the proposal in principle, and basically turn it over to administration to look at the details, how it works into our park scheme at the silo area and in connection with the Legion, and come back with a sort of proposal that we can actually sink our teeth into and move forward with.
Can I say something here? You might be overlooking the fact that we are going to honor all the airmen. There's 400 plus of them that we're going to have on the plaque, but certainly Jerry Billing is the Essex boy. He was the only Essex Spitfire pilot. He was the only Essex Spitfire pilot over Normandy in 1944 on D-Day. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I have heard him say to television crews, they're interviewing him down in, say, Toronto or Ottawa, and they'll say, "Oh, you're from Windsor," and he would always say, "No, I'm not from Windsor. I'm from Essex, just outside of Windsor." And just for that reason alone, I believe that he deserves this.
Councillor Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Worship, and I just want to also throw in my support for this as well, and to the council for coming out tonight. And, you know, historically, for our military history buffs, they know this quote. It was Churchill that said, "Never have we owed so much to so many, you know, by so few." And they were referring to the airmen, like Mr. Billings, who shot down how many German fighters and bombers and basically saved Britain and saved the world. And that's what that quote's for. So how can you not get behind this? We'll make this work, and this is a wonderful, wonderful thing for our municipality.
Councillor Bondi.
Oh, no, I was second.
You sure? Oh, okay. Well, I have a few comments, especially Bob. You've known him for 40 years. I've known him for 75. I was born kitty corner to his house. The nicest, the best-looking gentleman I've ever seen in my life, especially when he was in his uniform. And he did, like Randy said, shake the windows. He would buzz his mother's house, and I'd swear he was going to hit it. You know, so the only thing I've done that I never did in my life that I should have done was take him up on the ride in Dale Robertson's Spitfire. He offered me many times, and I never did it. That Spitfire he drove around here belonged to Dale Robertson, the movie star, and Jerry looked after it for him. And I never did take that ride, you know, and I should have. So don't ever pass up what you can do today. You know, do it. But what a great guy.
That Spitfire today is in Seattle, Washington, in the Museum of Flight, and it needs restoration, and its flying days look like it's over. So it's preserved too.
Well, it's good that it goes down the same time as Jerry. Neither one of them are in shape to do it, so but we'll remember them.
Well, we know that Jerry is bedridden, and he's going to be 93. He's got his wheels and flaps down, and he's on finals, but he's still in there. And I'd like to see him, if some way possible, to get him out for the opening of this. I would love to do that for him.
Councillor Bowman. Oh, yeah, we haven't got it down. we're getting it, I guess. Got it, okay. Councilor Bonnie supports. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Thank you for coming out